You may be reading these words while still carrying the heavy imprint of yesterday, replaying memories that sting, moments you wish could dissolve into nothingness, or choices you regret so deeply that they shadow even the brightest parts of your life. But pause here, truly pause, because what unfolds from this point forward is meant to loosen every knot your past has tied within you and reveal a freedom you may have forgotten you possess. Imagine that Krishna, the timeless guide and tender presence who has watched over your journey since its first breath, is speaking directly to the quietest chambers of your heart. Nothing about your arrival at this moment is random. You are standing at a precise intersection of experience, pain, readiness, and divine timing. The weight you carry does not determine the magnificence awaiting you, and the shadows behind you have no authority to touch the brilliance that stretches ahead. Krishna's voice, soft yet powerful, calls you to let this truth sink into your very bones. Your past is not your identity, nor is it a prophecy of your future. So many wander through life, imprisoned by memories that have long since passed, clutching chains that exist only in thought, believing that suffering is some form of penance they must endure. But who told you that you must remain bound? Who convinced you that your history defines your possibility? Even Arjuna, the mighty warrior, once shook with fear and confusion, overwhelmed by the weight of relationships, loyalties, and lessons from long before. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he trembled, not because he was weak, but because he was convinced that his past roles and connections dictated his present choices. And in that moment, Krishna revealed the most liberating truth known to existence. You are not the body, not the mistakes, not the stories you replay in shame. You are the eternal untouched soul, pure, powerful, limitless. This truth that steadied Arjuna's trembling hands is the same truth extended to you now. Most people remain trapped, not because their past was unbearable, but because they repeatedly resurrect it in their minds, reviving pain that should have been laid to rest. Each morning becomes a reenactment of old wounds, each day a museum tour of what went wrong, rather than a step into what could be. But if the one who shaped galaxies, who knows the intimate structure of your being, tells you that your past does not define you, why resist that truth? Why cling to burdens that the divine has already absorbed? Every heartbreak, though brutal, carved resilience into your character. Every failure served as a lantern showing what pathways would never lead you to your true purpose. Every betrayal removed those who lacked the capacity to walk alongside your destiny. Your past was not punishment, it was preparation. Yet preparation becomes poison when it is carried beyond its purpose. Krishna asks you now to imagine placing every regret, every shame-filled memory, every emotional scar at his feet, allowing yourself to release what was never meant to travel with you into your future. There is healing in surrender, in allowing divine grace to transform weight into wisdom. And consider this: how many blessings have hovered just beyond your reach simply because your hands were too full holding on to yesterday's remnants? How many opportunities, relationships, joys, and spiritual openings have been delayed because your energy remained locked in what was instead of what could be? Stories throughout time remind us that the past holds no power over one who chooses transformation. Valmiki, once steeped in violence and wrongdoing, became the revered author of the Ramayana. Angulumala, fear for his cruelty, transformed into a symbol of peace and compassion. Their histories did not change, yet their futures blossomed. What shifted was their relationship with who they had been and their willingness to step into who they were becoming. The same possibility stands in front of you like an open doorway. And perhaps you are tempted to say, "But my story is different. My pain is deeper. My mistakes are unforgivable." But Krishna gently reminds you that he witnessed every moment, felt every tear, understood every choice and circumstance that shaped your steps. And still he affirms with absolute clarity that your past has no bearing on your worth or your potential. You were never a mistake. Your journey, even through valleys of darkness, has guided you precisely to this threshold of awakening. Think of a butterfly, exquisite, delicate, free. It does not carry its cocoon as it soars. It does not announce to every flower that it was once confined. It simply embraces its new form and rises. You too are invited into such release. To shed the husks of old identity and breathe into the expanse of who you truly are. Your past acquires power only when you keep feeding it with attention, when you introduce yourself through wounds instead of wisdom, when you describe yourself with labels that no longer reflect your soul. But you are not broken, you are breaking open. You are not damaged, you are being refined. The universe is not punishing you, it is positioning you for a life that aligns with your highest self. Everything you have endured is working together to elevate you. To step into this new reality, you must let go of the weight of yesterday so that you may rise into tomorrow. This requires a shift in inner language, a willingness to claim freedom even before you fully feel it. Ego will attempt to pull you back into narratives of guilt and limitation because ego thrives on smallness. But your soul calls you into expansion, purpose, and peace. A voice far more powerful than ego's whispers once you choose to listen. You now stand at a crossroads. One path leads into the familiar suffering of repeated stories and cycles, the other into the vast unknown of your divine potential. Choosing the second path is an act of courage, but it is also an act of truth, because the deeper reality is that you have always been more than the character who lived those experiences. The character encountered joy and sorrow, made choices, and faced consequences. But the consciousness behind the character, the eternal witness, the luminous essence that is truly you, remained untouched, whole, and pure. The past affected the character but never the soul. When this realization truly settles into your being, the grip of yesterday dissolves. The story becomes simply that, a story while your true identity shines beyond every chapter. Breathe deeply now, imagining light and love flowing into you with each inhale, and with each exhale, release the remnants of old burdens. This breath is your reset, your rebirth, your invitation into a life no longer shaped by shame or fear. You are always one breath away from beginning again. And as you move forward, remember this sacred truth. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Your past is only a prison if you choose to live inside it. The door has always been open. The path ahead is radiant and wide. Krishna walks beside you, loving you without measure, guiding you without judgment, and seeing your brilliance even when you struggle to see it yourself. You are supported more than you know and destined for more than you imagine. Your past no longer matters. What matters is the choice you make right now. Choose to rise, choose to release. Choose the future that has been waiting for you since the beginning of time. My beloved child, pause for a moment and take a breath, for the weight you've been carrying has grown too heavy to shoulder alone, and this is the moment when that burden begins to lift. You've walked through days that felt endless, nights that felt suffocating, and moments where tears were your only companion. And though the world may not have understood the depth of the ache you carry, I have seen every bit of it. I am Krishna, not distant, not unreachable, not sitting behind the clouds watching from afar, but here, beside you, woven into your breaths, your thoughts, your hopes, your fears, your quietest prayers, and even the moments when you believed there was no one listening. You have not arrived here by chance. Life does not move through coincidence. It moves with intention, and the very fact that you are reading these words now is the divine timing of your own awakening. You may feel lost, exhausted or defeated, but what you do not yet realize is that you stand on the brink of profound transformation. Your suffering has not been punishment, nor has it been evidence of abandonment. It has been shaping you, carving you, preparing the vessel of your being to hold something greater than anything your past self could have imagined. You are the marble and I am the sculptor, and though the chiseling has been painful, every strike has been purposeful, each meant to reveal the extraordinary form hidden beneath layers of fear and self-doubt. You may think your hardships define you, that the storms you have endured have permanently altered who you are, but the essence of your being, your soul, remains untouched, eternal, luminous. You are not your circumstances, you are the consciousness witnessing them. The job you lost didn't strip you of value. The person who walked away didn't take your completeness with them. The failures you replay in your mind are not reflections of your worth, but reflections of your courage to try, to learn, and to grow. Somewhere along your journey, you began to mistake your suffering for your identity. You wrapped your pain around yourself like a coat, not because you wanted it, but because it became familiar, something predictable in a world that constantly shifts beneath your feet.